My name is Dean Winchester. That big fella's my brother Sam. We kill monsters.
Oh, this is boring. Is there, I don't know, music?
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my crappy channel. So I had this idea for a while of making a video with my favorite episodes of Supernatural. I'm letting you know that these are my personal favorites, and I know that many of you will disagree with my list because they're just my favorites. This isn't me ranking them how I think others would rank them. I think you can tell a lot by a person based on their favorite TV show and based on their favorite episodes, so maybe you guys will be able to read my emotionally unstable ass mind like a book by the end of this video. But this isn't like a Watch Mojo video, this is just my top 10 favorite episodes. So yeah, here we go. Number 10, Season 1, Episode 1, Pilot. Now of course, I don't think this would be a top 10 list without the first episode, but there's so many reasons why this marks on the list. First, this episode sets up the whole plot for the show in general. I can name countless times where the events in the first episode are mentioned and are part of the plot. The first 5 seasons are based on this first episode. Sam and Dean's mom died due to some weird supernatural cause that we find out later in the show was due to her selling her soul for John, and this snowballs into a huge arc into season 5 with Sam and Dean being the true vessels of Lucifer. So the pilot is one of my favorites because it's just such an important part of Sam and Dean's story. Without the events in the first episode, Sam and Dean would not be who they are today. Number 9, Season 7, Episode 17, The Born Again Identity. Following the events of Castiel's death and Sam's continuous mental breakdown due to the wall breaking inside of his head, thanks Castiel, this episode marks my list as someone who is obsessed with Sam-centric episodes. This has to be one of my favorite ones considering we don't get as many of those kinds of episodes anymore. I mean, come on, how can you not like this episode? Sam gets hit by a car because Lucifer won't stop bothering the shit out of him. Dean is all worried that his little brother is going to die. And then there's this faith healer, Emmanuel. Nope, just kidding, it's Castiel with amnesia who woke up naked in a field and now has a wife. The plot with Lucifer and Sam has always been one of my favorite arcs in the show for many reasons, and I feel like this is one of those episodes that really focuses on how Sam is affected by his time in the cage, which is something that everyone seems to forget and neglect, and we need to stop doing that. Please appreciate Sam a little bit more. Number 8, Season 4, Episode 18, The Monster at the End of This Book. I feel like people tend to hate this episode, but in reality, this episode is really important if you continue watching the show past Season 5. Sam and Dean stumble across this series of books written by Carver Edlund, who we later find out is Chuck Shurley. Chuck claims that he has visions of Sam and Dean, and he freaks out due to all the stuff that he thought he put Sam and Dean through, but he feels relief after Castiel comes around and tells him that he's a prophet of the Lord. This episode isn't really where all of the things with Chuck start coming together. This is a really great opening for Chuck's story, and rewatching it now, knowing that Chuck is actually God, is a huge mindfuck to me. I feel like watching this episode after watching Chuck reveal himself to Sam and Dean is really engaging and heart-wrenching, knowing that this motherfucker could have stopped half of the shit that Sam and Dean had to go through, which is why this episode marks my list. Number 7, Season 2, Episode 1, In My Time of Dying. After standoff with the demon Azazel in a near-fatal car crash, Sam, Dean, and John end up in a hospital. Sam is minorly injured along with John, but Dean, on the other hand, is dying. John ends up telling Sam to go get some things from Bobby to keep away the demon who is trying to kill them, but later, after Dean's out-of-body experience thing is exploring the hospital and trying to find a way to wake up, Sam comes back and yells at John because Bobby told him that John was trying to summon the demon. This moment in the episode is one of the reasons why this episode is on my list. We all know John's fate at the end of the episode. He sells his soul and the cult to Azazel in return for Dean's life. The death of John Winchester leaves both Sam and Dean feeling guilty, and this just hurts me to watch, which is why it's one of my favorites. Number 6, Season 5, Episode 22, Swan Song. I know that many people will claim that this is the best episode of Supernatural, and I will agree that Swan Song is one of the best, but it isn't my personal number 1. This episode is probably one of the most heart-wrenching episodes of Supernatural to date. When Supernatural first debuted, Eric Kripke only had plans for a 5-season arc. This last episode of Season 5 could have been the ending for Supernatural, which Sam giving up his life for the sake of the world to trap Michael and Lucifer in the cage and stop the apocalypse from destroying the world. After watching Season 13 with the Apocalypse World, I think people won't forget how important this was for the sake of the world. If Sam never said yes and took control over his body and jumped into the pit, their world would have been just like the Apocalypse World in Season 13. Also, the amount of tears that I shed during this episode could probably fill the Pacific Ocean due to all the brotherly moments and Sam sacrificing himself and Dean getting his ass kicked by Lucifer and not even fighting back because that was his fucking brother in there. Just ouch, man. But in all honesty, if Supernatural was going to end, this would have been one of the perfect endings. But I am so glad it didn't, because now we have 13 going on 14 amazing seasons. Number 5. Season 11, episode 17, Red Meat. After a werewolf hunt goes wrong, Sam is shot in the stomach and Dean is left to pick up the mess, which leads him to negotiating with a Reaper named Billy by trying to kill himself. Dean thinks Sam is dead, but in reality, this guy Corbin ended up choking out Sam and he thought he was dead. But little did he know, you can't ever kill a Winchester permanently. I'd be lying if I said this episode didn't make me cry, because it sure as hell did. The whole theme of Sam dying and Dean not caring if he lived or died after that is important here, because it shows how much the brothers depend on each other to live. Also, it was kind of like Romeo and Juliet themed, kind of like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh, wait, you're not dead? Bye, I'm gonna kill myself again. Yeah, that whole thing was fun to watch. Number 4, Season 11, Episode 20, Don't Call Me Shurley, and Season 11, Episode 21, All in the Family. These 2 episodes mark a tie in my book. As I mentioned before, the reveal of God is very important in Supernatural. God has always seemed like an omniscient figure to Sam and Dean, who never really cared that much about what his humans were doing. We find out that this is false in these episodes. That God himself had been proud of Sam and Dean for fixing their mistakes, and that he just didn't want to have to do a cleaning up the Archangel's messes and the humans' messes. Again, these episodes had me in tears, but we finally got what we wanted. God to reveal himself and explain himself to Sam and Dean, and God to finally help with the overweighing apocalypse like he should have done from the beginning. Number 3, Season 13, Episode 20, Unfinished Business. Did you seriously think there wouldn't be a Gabriel episode on this list? Well, honey, you were wrong if you thought that. I love Gabriel, and I threw up on myself when I saw him back for the first time in Season 13. I'm not even over-exaggerating, that actually happened. Having Gabriel back was one of the most important things in my life that I needed to survive, but that was all ripped from me in Season 13, Episode 22, Exodus, when Michael decided to fucking kill him! Anyway, I love this episode because it shows Gabriel on his little revenge kick, and he's like all happy killing everybody, and boy do I love revenge. Also, the hallway gunfight scene was fucking amazing. Number 2, Season 2, Episode 21, All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 1, and Season 2, Episode 22, All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 2. Again, these 2 episodes are a tie, but I don't really necessarily think it's that much of a tie because they are Part 1 and 2. They kind of correlate together, like a continuation kind of thing, you know? I don't know. But anyway, these episodes have always stuck with me. Sam always wanted to be normal. He never wanted to continue hunting after he went to college, but the demon blood inside of him led him down a destructive path. Obviously, that didn't happen yet, but because of Sam, the family curse, in quotes, had been a thing. These episodes show that Sam had to come to terms with the fact that he wasn't normal. He was trying to keep the group together that was trapped in that little abandoned place so they could all survive, but unfortunately this didn't happen. Ava ended up killing almost everyone, and when Jake and Sam were left last, Sam ended up being stabbed in the back, literally and figuratively, by Jake, causing the heart-wrenching scene of Dean holding his little brother in his last moments. The next episode leads us to Dean's grief with his monologue about how he always was supposed to protect Sam. Dean couldn't deal with the thought of losing Sam, so he sold his soul to a crossroads demon and gets 1 year to live. But hey, at least his little brother is alive. So they all find a way to stop Azazel going inside of the Devil's Trap Railroad sting, but at this point, Jake used the Colt to open the gates of hell, allowing thousands of demons to crawl their way out of hell like I do crawling out of bed every morning. John saves the day and Dean ends up killing Azazel with the Colt and later telling Sam that he sold his soul for him. I still cry like a little fucking bitch every time I watch these 2 episodes because of how sad it was and just because it really shows that Dean just wanted to protect his little brother. And number 1, Season 8, Episode 21, The Great Escapist, all the way to Season 8, Episode 23, Sacrifice. Obviously, I could not just pick one episode for the number 1 spot, but my favorite season is Season 8, specifically everything towards the end of the season. Season 8, Episode 21, The Great Escapist is my personal favorite episode, and I can recite every line of the episode. I've seen it over 300 times. But it's the events after that get me going. The point of Sam wanting to close the gates of hell is more of a redemption factor for him. We know that at this point, Sam still felt guilty for all the things he fucked up, like letting Lucifer out of the cage and not rescuing Dean from purgatory. The whole arc with the trials will always be my favorite, and that's why I couldn't just pick one for this list. I always remember the scene in the church when Sam is telling Dean that he doesn't care if he lives, he just wants to do the right thing. But because Dean can't live without his little brother, he ends up taking him out of it instead. But instead of Sam just being okay after letting the trials go, he ends up nearly dying, and that's where season 9 takes us. Season 8 will again always be my favorite season, just due to the sacrifices that Sam had to make to be able to close the gates of hell, and then he didn't even end up finishing the trials. That will always be something that pisses me off though, but like, you know, I'm okay with it. And I'm going to pull a Watch Mojo and mention a honorable mention. My best friend's favorite episode is Scooby Natural, and you all know why. It's fucking great. And I just thought I'd throw in a little Scooby Natural in there just because, you know, why not? So there you go. That is my top 10 list of Supernatural episodes. I know they are a little bit biased due to the fact that I specifically love the Sam-centric episodes, and I personally relate to Sam more on like a regular level. I've always loved Sam, and I love Sam, Dean, Cass, and everyone else too, but Sam, it will always be like my number one. Dean is pretty like right next to it, but you know. I love both of them equally, but I just tend to relate to Sam more. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my list of episodes. I think they are pretty valid, and I think I gave you guys a lot of reasons why I put every episode in its spot. So yeah, if you don't agree with me, or if you do agree with me, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it. It really helps me out. And yeah, subscribe if you like watching Supernatural videos. And remember, don't get possessed by any demons. Bye!